Okay, let's start the next session. The next session is on the empowering disadvantaged community lessons learned. Yeah, and we have Dr. Tay. And before that, I'll just give a short introduction of Dr. Tay. Dr. Tay is from the is a CEO of Global Peace Foundation Malaysia. I met him when he was doing a project in Kuching, yeah, near Kuching, outskirts of Kuching, among the squatters. So I did some assistance, doing training among the community leaders in Kampong Sion. I think the time they had the installation of the solar power equipment. Yeah. So Dr. Tay started working non-profit work since 2001. He has since been working with children, youth, urban poor, and indigenous communities in both in West Malaysia and in East Malaysia. So under his leadership, the Global Peace Foundation has developed social impact programs on clean water and hygiene, renewable energy, children learning, as well as food security and livelihood. And these programs impacted over 90 communities and thousands of underserved families and children. Dr. Tay has a degree in medicine from the University of Malaya. He has also addressed 1,500 youth at the United Nations headquarters in New York on the leadership and purposeful living in 2015. Today's program will be Dr. Tay, and after him we'll invite Dr. Wong, because Dr. Wong couldn't present yesterday because of a technical problem with her laptop. Yeah? So today we asked Dr. Tay to start. You have 15 minutes. Then there'll be a Q&A about 5 minutes. Yeah? So I give you the floor. Yeah, we welcome you, Dr. Tay.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. John, for the kind introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be part of this forum for knowledge sharing. If you don't mind, let me share my screen very quickly. I hope my internet here is all right, because I'm actually out of the town, near to the community. Yeah. So let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So very quickly, just a background, the work that I'm involved in as part of the Global Peace Foundation is on building resilient communities. And the communities we are targeting at are mostly disadvantaged communities, ranging from Orang Asli in the peninsula to the indigenous people, native people in Sabah and Sarawak. 80% of our work currently are focusing on the indigenous people or the Orang Asli in Pahang, especially in Pekan and Rompin district. Yeah. Let me move to the next slide. So a bit of background. Global Peace is a nonprofit. We strive to build, to foster cohesive communities with a vision that, you know, all humanity, transcending differences of culture, nationality, religion, and race, we are all the same human family. And so over the last 10 years, we have worked with various underserved communities. And as I mentioned, recent years, we have shifted our focus to the Jakun Orang Asli in Pekan and Rompin district. And we have also set up a few offices in Bandar Muazzam Shah. So this is our approach that we developed over the years. Based on uh, our observation of the community and the needs, we have developed various approaches to address the needs of this underserved and disadvantaged community. So if you look at this pyramid, the bottom is where we got started. When we first went into the Orang Asli communities, we realized how much backward, actually it's not the right word as well. I would say how much the gap that they're facing in terms of development. And a lot of people say, well, the Orang Asli are naturally the forest people, and they for centuries they've been living in the forest, so they don't need development. But the matter of fact is a lot of the Orang Asli today are living at the fringe of forests near to the town. So there is also not much of forest. They are living, some of them are in the midst of the plantation. So there is no more, clean running river that they can drink in many of this community we work with. There are no more, abundance in the forest. They can harvest, they can find food, and lumber to build the house. They struggle because of heavy deforestation that's been ongoing, and then their livelihood, their sources of food and clean water are also diminishing. So we saw that gap. We saw the health issues that they're facing because of lack of access to clean water, proper sanitation, nutrition, as well as access to energy. Yeah, so that's where we got started, looking into basic needs. These are all human rights, basic human right to get access to clean water and sanitation, for example. So the lessons that we've learned also is to tackle issues of the community based on needs and not based on what we want to do. We have very little expertise in addressing issues on clean water, food security, for example. But we saw that was a pressing needs in the community, and that's where we need to start. Yeah. So after several years of working addressing basic needs, we moved on to the next level, and that's on livelihood and literacy. And livelihood here we mean their access to work opportunities, income generation, and economic empowerment. So a lot of the Orang Asli struggle also in transition from being a forest hunter and gatherer into farming. They're not trained as farmer, and some of them started working in a plantation, but they are paid very little. So having they have challenge bringing, putting food on the table and having good nutrition and education for the children. So that's one area that we learned over the years, that we start addressing the issues of community starting from basic needs, and then we move on to something that's even more important in long term to address poverty, and that's their livelihood and education. That's literacy for children. That's a reason why we work with various partners, because we don't have all the expertise, but we could tap on various resources that other partners could offer working together. For those who are not familiar, the Orang Asli, though a very small population in Malaysia, it's a very high percentage of poverty. In fact, 1/3 of the Orang Asli are hardcore poor. And that's the area we work with. Yeah, so the challenge, as I mentioned, is the transition from being forest hunter and gatherer to be farmer these days, as many of them are rubber tapping, you know, and they farm serai and some oil palm and so on. So these are some of the needs we identify over the years that we started to tackle one after another, and we studied in depth by to talking to them, observing how they live, to understand the issues better, to understand their lifestyle and to understand their needs. Without proper understanding of needs, a lot of time approaches, sometimes by the authorities, by non-profits, are very short-lived, short-term, because they're not addressing the core of the issues. Yeah, so dropouts and illiteracy, food security, and nutrition. Yeah, so that form the foundation of how we empower communities. The participatory approaches. Yeah. So okay, that's some issue in my slide. Okay. So over the years we have worked on various areas. As I mentioned, we address the issue of clean water and sanitation by providing access to clean water, providing facilities like toilet, and a lot of time we don't do it for the community. We work with the community to come up with a plan, and we get the community to work with us to put in their time and effort. Even though we provide them with the materials, they need to put in their part of commitment, and that's the time and effort. And that's a very important part of our implementation, because it builds sense of ownership when they participate, when they are involved in building those amenities that they need for their community. We have started solar lighting projects in various communities. We've covered many families as well. We've started projects on food farming, community learning center, and so on. So these are some of the outcomes of our years of working with the community. And these are the areas of our work. So this is just a journey of how we got started, just from clean water and wash. And then we move on to solar, into food farming, into education, building toilets, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So this program at a glance, these are the Clean Water Initiative, providing them with water filtration system, giving them training on personal hygiene, washroom building with the community, solar water pump to bring water more accessible. So as I mentioned, we didn't start with the expertise, but we engaged with partners, and partners would, you know, as we work with our partners who have the expertise, we learn from them, and then we could run this projects on our own now with our team, learning the skills to run this activity. Yeah. Solar lighting projects are very critical, because the community spend a lot of money buying batteries. They could spend between 50 to 100. Some of the families spend more than 100 ringgit per month buying batteries, diesel, petrol to run genset. Sometimes they just even buy candles to lead up their home. So after doing a lot of survey and research, we realized that they can own solar lighting with the fraction of money that they spend every month. That will give them better illumination, more hours of lighting, and ability to charge their phone at a lower cost. So we did not give the solar lighting for free, but we provide them an installment payment plan, which work out very well. I think we have over 200 50 families who have signed up with this project to own a solar lighting system at home, where we provide them with training, the installment plan to pay, and they can save a lot on their energy expenditure. Yeah, these are the educational program we run within the villages for a lot of kids who drop out from schools, and so on and so forth. So the food farming project was just started last year because of COVID. And one of the important lessons we learned is that a lot of these communities are very keen to plant their own food, but they have challenges. They do not know how to manage the soil. The soils are very degraded and eroded in many of the communities, and they do not know how, because they have tried planting and nothing grew, or just very selective plants, very resilient, could grow, but that doesn't give them enough nutrition. Yeah, and so by providing them with the knowledge, skills, and a bit of subsidy of some tools, we were seeing Orang Asli, farming a lot of vegetable. They are eating their own vegetable. It saves them money to go to the market. So again, it was out of the understanding of their needs, their challenges, that we could provide the right solution that they could adopt. Yeah. Otherwise, we have seen efforts that fail in farming. There are organizations who provide seeds and seedlings and expect them to be able to plant on their own. And then when they fail, people actually label them as lazy, or not not keen enough, and so on, when the issue is actually lack of capacity. Yeah. So of course there are some families who also drop out from the program, which we understood, that you won't get 100% result out of everything that we do. But one of the very important aspects of our programming is looking for the right person. We don't just go into the kampong and give everybody the same thing. We would do survey and needs assessment and find the right people who are really, really interested. Yeah. So I'll just wrap it up here, since I think the time is up. But if you have any question, feel free to ask. Yeah. Thank you. Dr. John, you're muted.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Tay. Yeah. Anyone have any questions for Dr. Tay? No one? Okay, I have one question for you. Do you include sustainability in your project? Do you include that part, that component, when you do your programs?
Yeah. So that is a very common question raised by funder this day. When they give you fund, they want to know, what's the long-term outcomes, when you leave the community, what happened to the community. So our approach so far, in terms of sustainability, number one, as I mentioned earlier, we've decided to stay in one region. We could have just moved around the country, to different new communities to work with. But we've decided that we will stay in these two districts. And the rationale is very simple. Unless we stay for, 5 to 10 years, we will not be able to see market changes in terms of development. So for example, our first clean water project was in Kampong Binjai in 2016, where we built a solar powered water pump. And because we were around in this region, we were doing different projects with different communities. This community that we installed the solar water pump called us up 2 years later because the pump broke down, and we could go in a week later to find out what's the issue, and we brought the pump for repair. Yeah, so being around the community, I think, is a very important factor for sustainability. I've seen projects in communities. There's certain groups, NGO, who did a project and they left and not contactable anymore. So the system actually broke down and they were just abandoned. And those systems looks like it costs them 50,000 to build, but they are abandoned after maybe a couple of years, which is a total wastage. Yeah, so they're not sustainable. The second aspect of our sustainability is to train the local, which I think is very common. We want to make sure the local know the basic, how to troubleshoot a solar system, water filtration, or anything, the farming, so that they know how to solve the problem. Usually projects get abandoned, things get abandoned because they are not properly trained. Yeah, so I'll just say these two are our key focus. Dr. John, there are several questions on the chat. Should I answer them?
Yeah, there's one on the Q&A.
Yeah.
That's from Lee. I think I just read it. I wonder how much help the solar package implemented and approved by federal government, to a government a few years ago to our Sarawakian interior communities. Yeah, and he says that the project actually cost billions. Do you like to comment on that?
I mean, I wouldn't comment on the projects in Sarawak that I am not fully aware, but just to give people, I mean, if in case some of you are interested, but you're not sure how much is the cost, there are a lot of solar products in the market, and a careful selection is important because quality matters. We have used products that last for a year and they break down, and the manufacturer doesn't, even provide after sales service, warranty, and all that. So choosing a good quality product to ensure that it will last, not just last. Most of the things will have problem at one point, but you get after sales technical service. For example, some of our solar inverter in our communities had problem. Not so much of the quality problem, but it was the lizard who, goes into the inverter and affected the circuit inside. But because the manufacturer has a good communication with us, they are in China, but they have a good technical team that would teach us in video call how to troubleshoot, how to change the parts, and so on. So that is important. Pricing wise, of course, don't go for the cheapest, go for better quality. Solar lightings are very cheap this day. The one that we roll out that I show in picture, solar lighting, they are DC powered. They are DC means you can only charge devices. You can't run a TV or washing machine. DC lighting system, they can have USB port to charge phones. They are in the range of 200 to 400 ringgit for a good quality lighting. So, billion-dollar project I've never seen myself, because, to power up the whole community of 20 families, you probably, need a system of 100,000 ringgit. But, nothing, you don't really need that much of money. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Tay. I think there are 3 questions at the Q&A. I'll read them for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, David and Lucy Lapang. Yeah, I'll read your 2 questions. first question is, what are the biggest challenges in empowering these disadvantaged communities in terms of skilling up? Yeah, that's the first one. Again, another one from David and Lucy Alabang. Why did families that dropped out of the farming program dropped out? Yeah, why do they drop out? Is it because of lack of skills, lower appetite for risk? Yeah. Yeah. These two questions, are you able to respond?
Yeah. Okay, sure. Biggest challenges in empowering disadvantaged community for us so far is community cohesiveness. So it doesn't matter whether it's orang asli or the native in Sarawak, because the challenges are very common when a community have issues of trust among themselves or trust towards a leadership, or they don't get along between families. And because of that, they're not cooperating with each other. For example, when we built a gravity feed system in one of the kampong, there are people who did not participate because they don't get along with the other group. There are cliques and segregation in the community. So despite having a need to for development, but the disunity and segregation hurt the process of them coming together to build something for the community. The other example, they built washroom in the community and they started fighting, like, why do you allow this family to use the washroom and they don't take care of it, they don't clean up, or they don't deserve using it because they didn't put their time and effort into it. So this kind of problem really will slow down development in communities, and that's why community organizing becomes part of our work. We can't just go in and say, okay, I know you need this, and we'll give you training, and hopefully everything will go on well. That would not work in some community when people don't cooperate with each other. We need to bring everybody together to, talk to each other. If they have any issue with the community, they have to voice out and achieve a consensus and agreement. And it's an ongoing work to kind of bring community together. So that's the biggest challenge. Not so much of technical challenge. Technical challenge can all be learned. Yeah. Why did families drop out from the farming project? Various reasons. So there are young mothers who deliver a baby and they got busy. There are people who were just distracted. They are working in the plantation and they got busy and their priority kind of changed. So not so much a lack of skill, because we provide training, and some of these people don't turn up because their priority change, and they don't see the urgency of food farming. Yeah. Lower appetite for risk, because we're not doing big scale, we're doing small scale farming for our own consumption. So there's not much of risk. There are a few people who get discouraged because their soil is really, really bad and it takes time to regenerate. And, in the process, they're planted and then it grow for a while and then die. And some people are just like, this is not possible, and they give up. So we realized that it's not just about skill, it's also about motivation. And so regularly visiting them, looking at their plot and encourage them for things that they do well, to keep them motivated. It's very, very crucial. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Tay. I think we have time only for one more question. This is from Ozuki Nobuko. Yeah? He says, it's a nice case study, by the way. Around how much is the budget, yeah, to set the solar system per household?
Okay. So as I mentioned, there are ranges of different solar system of different capacity. And so working with Orang Asli, their needs are very basic. The Sarawakian native are very different. They have TV, right? They have TV, they have electrical appliances at home, fan and all that. So depending on community, the system is gonna be different pricing. Let's start with the Orang Asli. Orang Asli, their needs are, I can't also generalize because they are also more developed Orang Asli that will have higher demand. But the communities we work with, their needs are very simple. They need light. They need to charge a phone. Right? Mobile phones are no more a luxury. Even for Orang Asli, they need to call the middleman, they call their relative, to fetch them and all that. So these are the two most critical needs for the Orang Asli that we observe and we survey. And so a very basic solar lighting system with 3 or 4, LED lighting, solar panel between 10 to 20 watt, and the battery pack that has a USB port. And that would just cost around 400 ringgit for a good solar system, a solar lighting system. There's a brand that we use, Sun King. It's very common in developing countries, and they give 2 years warranty, right? So it's pretty good, yeah. And that's for the Orang Asli. For the Sarawakian community that we work with, they have high demand, so they actually spend 200 to 300 ringgit per month on a diesel generator. So they have TV, they have got washing machine and all that. So the solar system for them would be a larger system, an AC system with an inverter that will range between 3,000 to 5,000 ringgit. We're talking about just the cost price of the material, of the solar panels or the batteries, the inverter. Yeah, so around 5,000, it's good enough for them to have a TV. I'm talking about ringgit Malaysia, in case you're a foreigner, and for TV, for washing machine, lighting, and fan. Yeah, I hope that helps. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Tay, for enlightening talk. Yeah. Next, we move to Dr. Wong. Dr. Wong, are you ready?
Okay. Good afternoon, Dr. John. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Can you see the slide, Dr. John?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. A very good afternoon to all participants here. Thank you very much for staying back here. Actually, this is supposed to be presented yesterday, but because of the technical issues, I would like to take these opportunities to thank Prof. Nara and the team because for giving me another chance to present to all of you regarding the TPOA project that is carried out in Orang Asli area in one of the 4 sites. Yesterday, my friends, my colleagues had discussed about the general idea regarding the telecenter project among Orang Asli in West Malaysia. Actually, this project was carried out in 4 sites, Pos Road, Pos Lenjan, Pos Bala, and Pos Gok. And then yesterday, my colleagues had presented all the other sites. Then today I'm going to present the posting road. Yesterday I couldn't present because of the technical issues. Okay, so then now what I would like to present here today is more on the impact from the community. Okay, so then this project is the partnership between the Orang Asli and also UNIMAS communities. Okay, we work together, and in Pahang we work among the Semai group. Okay, then today I'm going to present more on the voices of the local communities. Okay, this is the posting road. is with the beautiful scenery over there. Okay, so this one is rich of natural resources over there. And okay, this is the starting of our Tipua trip, whereby this is a second trip we went there, and then with the researchers to introduce the new members to the Orang Asli community in Posingdrut. Okay, and then we still remember, yes, all of us 12 researchers, we were all in one highlight. Okay, going into the village from one place to another place to introduce the team members to the Orang Asli communities. And then there are various engagement sessions with the local community during that period of time. We went from one kampong to another kampong. By the way, there are about 19 kampong in Posingdrut, and during that time, there were about 4,235 people with 752 families during that time. Okay, so that now the number and the populations has grown over the years. Okay, so these are some of the pictures that we took. There are engagement with the school children as well, and engagement with the local communities. Okay, so then we also have the trip to share regarding the ideas of these telecenter programs by our researchers. Okay, and then after that, we have continuous engagement with the local community. And you can see that each time we have engagement, we involve all levels of people. There are women, there are men, there are elderly people, there are younger youth, there are children, and so on. And then engagement with the communities. Sometimes, if let's say we gather a group of people in one location. If they are unable to come, then we visit them. This is the photos whereby we visit one of the pating in one of the village in Posingdrut when we knew that he was sick and he was unable to attend our meeting. Then we visit him and to share our ideas regarding these telecenter programs as well. And then this is the engagement in Labu. Kampong Labu is the furthest kampong in Posingdrut with Pating Yahya. Okay, then the community engagement also play with the, you see Dr. Tan play with the youth there. Okay, and then we have participatory approach. Okay, to engage communities and to have them to view, to let us know what is their viewpoints and so on. Okay, so then yeah, this is different levels of engagement. Okay, so got children, got youth, and so on. So okay, then we have different programs being carried out in this area, like what has been shared by my colleagues yesterday. There are health programs, there are education programs, there are training programs, there are agribusiness programs, and yeah, many programs that have been carried out to the people. Yeah, in this Posingdrut, this is the health programs. Then this, you see, usually is demonstrating how to brush the teeth to the children. Okay, over there. Okay, so then we also have engagement with the SK Sindrut there, and then we work very closely with the school there. And then sometimes we bring the students here to go to our telecenter to introduce them how to use iPad and so on. Yeah, and then there are training programs at different levels, how to use iPad, how to use various devices, and how to maintain the telecenter and so on. Then we also have leadership training and so on. And so on. Yes, so these are some of the photos taken, and then the most important things that what I can conclude is that the impact that we get from the voices of the local community today is all due to the high commitment and dedication among our researchers. If dedication and no high commitment among our researchers, I don't think the impact voices out by the local community will be obtained today. Okay, so then from the commitment and there is enjoyment in the learning from the researchers and so on. So now I would like to highlight few of the impacts. There are a lot of impacts because due to the time constraint, I just highlight few of them. Okay, so this is the lady who was the first telecenter taker in Pausing Road. Okay, she was the telecenter caretaker during that time, appointed during that time, and then she was the Orang Semai, born in the area and grown up in the area. She was very shy at first, and then but she was very dedicated and self-motivated also. And then she is also willing to learn. And I still remember the first time we engaged her, and then she was very shy, didn't dare enough to talk so much with us. But over time, we have established the relationship. And each time we went in, whenever she got any questions of what, she will ask us how to do this and how to find things and so on. I still can recall vividly that she asked me how to go to the website to find the different higher institutions because she wanted to apply for college study and so on. So we taught her how to go into the relevant website, and then after that she managed to apply herself in the relevant website to go to continue her study. So she became the first Orang Semai in Pausing Road who completed her tertiary education. So this is something that is very proud of. And then it is a model to other family members and also other people, a model to other Orang Asli in Pausing Road as well. And then the other impact that we gathered from the chairman of the eSindro Advisory and Management Board is that he is an entrepreneur and he is the advocate of technological and socio-economic development. Okay, so then I just show to you what is his message. Okay, when we ask him about the kesan or the impact of the telecenter in Pausing Road. He said that first, he of course very thankful to UNIMAS because we are very dedicated to bring this telecenter project to this community. And he said that after the installation of the telecenter in Pausing Road, and then they are better connected to the world outside outside the Pausing Road, and then it had brought a lot of changes into their life, and then they will be able to connect with their friends and their relative or their family members outside the village. And they thank for our support. And then of course he is entrepreneur, and then he will make use of whatever facilities available to expand his business. So he is able to apply for a license from the government to expand his project applications. Okay, this is what he mentioned. And then we also try to talk to the community leader, Pating Yahya, furthest from there is the furthest village in Pausing Road here. And then I just try to summarize what he told us when we asked him regarding the impact. Actually, I recorded the video, just that we want to save time. And then what he emphasized here is that with this establishment of telecenter and with this TPOA project, and then they will be able to connect to the family members anytime, no matter where they are. Okay, and then also, this is the TPOA project has facilitated them, facilitated communication with the family members outside the village. And then also he highlighted the importance of the awareness awareness that we brought to them regarding the importance of education. That thus this had reduced the dropout rate among the members in their village. Okay, and then they also enhance in terms of knowledge and also skills for their daily use. It includes, he highlight the things like now he knows how to take photos. He can connect the people outside like us in UNIMAS, even though we are not able to travel there during the COVID-19 pandemic time, we are still able to see the situation in the village. The other day when I talked to him through WhatsApp call, and then he showed me the village and the conditions over there and so on. So we are still able to connect with them. And he said that all this he learned through our TPOA project. Okay, and then he also mentioned that the health program has brought awareness to them regarding the importance of personal as well as the community hygiene and so on. And then he said that all these projects have brought to the improvement in their socio-economic status in the among the villagers there. Okay, and this is the current telecenter caretaker. So he said that after the establishment of the telecenter in the area, they are able to use the Wi-Fi, the free Wi-Fi, okay? And then they are able to access to the news happening. What are the happening outside the village, okay? Including the one in the national news, the international news, and so on. And then they also can learn how to do the things that they like. Let's say how to make kue, how to plant vegetables, and so on. And then he also she also mentioned that okay, the villagers now will be able to go to telecenter to do the photostating of IC or the birth certificates for any application. That means make the life of the villagers day more convenient rather than going all the way out to do the photostating and so on. So that is what she highlighted the other day. So I just want to summarize. Of course, there are more of the impact. Let's say there are there was another villagers from another village mentioning that because of the telecenter, then he went to the telecenter to access to the license because he wanted to apply for the driving license. So he need to study what need to be studied before he can get the get the driving license. Then he go and study using the iPad, and then he managed to pass his driving license to enhance his capabilities over there. Yeah. So there are more that I can share, but because of the time limit, then I just try to summarize what we got. So due to the TPOA project in Orang Asli communities, then we have already bridged the digital communication, information, knowledge, and technological gaps between the rural and urban area. This is what we can conclude, okay, from the sharing of the local community there. And then it also enhanced the capabilities of the local community by improving their accessibility to improve their socio-economic opportunities. These especially are particular in terms of the accessibility to market. They are now connected easier to the market, and they are able to sell their agricultural products at a better price with this connectivity. Okay, and then also overall, because of this connectivity, because we try to bridge all these gaps between the rural and urban, it had also managed to improve their the socio-economic status and well-being of the local community, particularly in Port Sindrut here. Okay, and then what is the way forward, and what are the challenges ahead, and what are the opportunities and challenges ahead? Okay. Yeah. So then, how to transform these valuable assets to enhance the capabilities of local community for further development without compromising the cultural values and the identity of Semai community, as well as the environment. This is one of the things that maybe is something that we need to consider or take into consideration, and how to strengthen the shared values and the communal ways of thinking and actions, rather than being so capitalist and so on. These is some things that maybe need to be taken into account to go forward. Yeah. So then, taking these opportunities, I would like to thank all the members in the Port Sindrut, as well as all the very committed researchers in UNIMAS, and also UNIMAS management, and also all the stakeholders, the funders, and so on, without which we are unable to accomplish this project and brings the better well-being to the local communities. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. There's a question for you. It's from the Q&A. That's thank you for David and Lucy Labang. So I read the questions. The team engaged the community on many facets in order to establish the telecenter. Is this purposeful stroke design engagement? How does engaging them holistically help improve the impact of the telecenter project? Did you get the question? Dr. Wong? Oh, I read the question.
Okay. Yes. I think this question is best answered by my Ketua Project, Associate Professor Dr. Pauline Bala. Okay, Dr. Pauline Bala, can you help to answer this one?
Dr. Pauline.
You are muted.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, Dr. Pauline.
What was the question? Sorry.
Yeah, let me read the question again.
Yeah.
Okay, the team engaged the community on many facets in order to establish the telecenter. So the question is this purposeful? Is this a design engagement? That's first question. Second question, how does engaging them holistically help improve the impact of the telecenter project?
Well, I guess we don't have photographs of the telecenters, if we see the design of the telecenters, it was designed purposefully to address their environment. For instance, their even the architecture of the 4 telecenters were designed by the communities according to their local environment, according to their perception. And actually, if you look at post-Bala, the use of local materials, that was the idea. And the idea of raising the telecenter above the ground is also in accordance to how traditional homes were built. It's not like the normal concrete building that being introduced in the village, that those structures or those houses, what they call it, there are rumah what?
Adat.
Rumah what is it, Dr. Wong?
Rumah adat.
No, the rumah that is built by the government for them.
Okay.
They are on the ground, they are concrete.
PRP.
Yeah, the PRP houses, they are built on the ground. and actually, if you look at the traditional homes, they're not built like that. So we right from day one, I think we engage along that line to be purposive in our approach, to make sure that their design is taken into consideration. Local materials are considered there, because at the end of the day, when we leave, if we bring materials from outside and let's say something wrong happened with the telecenter, then we have to think about, they have to think about transporting things from outside the village to do the repair. But if the materials are sourced locally, if anything happened at the telecenter, they can manage it on their own. I think we worked for 7 years among the four communities. That's not short, that's long years. To say whether it has impact on them, I think we listen to their stories a lot. It's not just about the telecenter. I think it is the whole activities that we have carried out, the workshops, the trips that they made to Baklalan, and the trips they made to Barrio, the trips they made to Sarawak, to UNIMAS, and a number of learning trips that they have been invited to come here. And actually it has opened their mind about the world outside. And we remember they always tell us that, through this initiative, they learn that they can be berdiri sama tinggi and duduk sama rendah with the others. So I think that is the bigger outcome of the project is more than the building, more than the telecenter, more than the technology. It is basically just a change of a kind of a mindset to let them see that there are people out there in similar situation as they are, but how to move forward regardless of the situation that they are in. They are remote, they are rural. So I think those are the things that has impacted the community very much, that up to today they're still looking for us to go back and return to the communities, because of the trust that we have, the trust that we have built over the years, and it's still there, and they are waiting for us to return in a way that they have, I think, which is beautiful. I think one of the most, for me personally, one of the most poignant moments when I realized that the team has done such a tremendous job with the community is when the director of EPU, Economic Planning Unit, in one of the workshop session, I remember she turned to me and said, "What have you done? What have you guys done to these communities?" I was quite puzzled in a sense, because it's a group of them. Then they said, what we have heard of the Orang Asli so far, they are lazy. They don't know how to work. They don't know how to think. Other people do the job for them. And she went through the list, but he said, when I look at these guys that you guys have done the workshop with, they're able to think, they're able to decide, they know what they want. And these are young people. And so at the end of the day, I had to tell her, I said, well, it's just the approach. It's not about the technology. It's not about the building. It is about how do we engage with the people, basically going along the line, that development should be about dignity, really. So restoring their, not that we are the restorer of their dignity, but actually through the approach of respect and knowing that, they are equal with us. That actually makes a lot of difference to the community. Yeah. And in fact, a lot of the local champions that we have trained in all the sites, they are now community leaders. They are moving things in the community. Remember Dr. Wong, the first case in Kelantan where they won the land right is basically in a community where we work. And the guy who is basically spearheading the thing he's only up to primary 6. But because of the available technology that we provided, and then through the engagement with us, they've learned to kind of negotiate if the Klabit can do it, if the Lun Bawang can do it, probably we also can do it. And I was amazed when actually the Pengulu that been to Barrio bought Barrio rice to be planted in their house. I mean, in their kampong. Quietly, they bought the Barrio Padi Barrio, and then experimented it. So that's amazing actually. So to see those, and actually that is. Actually, it is more about how we approach, how we get them to participate. That was the thing that makes a lot of difference. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. John. Dr. John, you need to unmute. Dr. John, you need to unmute.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Pauline. Thank you, Dr. Wong, and earlier speaker, Dr. Tay. Are there any more questions?
I have a question.
Okay, can you, yeah, Dr. Roger, please. Yes.
Well, I've written it in the chat box. Can you see it?
The chat box. I can't see it. Oh, can you just speak it?
Better you read it, John. Roger, you say it.
Dr. Wong.
Yeah.
Firstly, I just want to say I'm very glad we were able to hear your presentation because it's such an important contribution to our deliberations. But my question, therefore, is a little bit different from the others. How has your participation in the TAPOA project affected you personally and professionally?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Roger, for the questions. Okay, how does my involvement or my participation in TPOA project affect me personally? Okay, then okay, for me personally, I have a different eyes or different perspective to look at the community as a whole at the moment, because through my participation, I found out that everybody is very unique. Okay, sometimes we cannot use biased eyes to look at community and so on. And then I can see that their patience to learn something has encouraged me so much. And then their dedication towards certain things also encouraged me so much. I still remember there was one lady, the caretaker, when I tried to talk to her regarding how to design the programs or activities forward to help the local community, I didn't expect her to ask me questions. Can we get some fundings to buy some reference book or some things for the children here so that they are able to use the telecenter to be an academic activities, to carry out the academic activities, learning activities in the telecenter. That really touched me so much. That's why I thank the project also to allow us to bring some of the books that we bought to the local community in that area, so that each time when we deliver the new books, the children book to the local community, we can see the smiling eyes, smiling face, and then that really encouraged me so much. Then it changed my perspective at all regarding all people, meaning that we need to give people opportunities. A lot of time I found out that people are not given these opportunities. So we need to enhance people's opportunities so that they are not left behind at the end of the day. So this is something that really touched me so much and impacted me so much. Then also when I deal with my students in the class now, and I also look at them with the different eyes, and then I will be more passionate with my professions, and I will be more committed to go to the ground to work with the people on the ground. Yeah, because a lot of things we are unable to learn if we just sit down in the office without going to the ground to understand the real circumstances and so on. So those are the things that I learned the most, I think. I don't know whether I answer your questions or not.
That's beautiful. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Wong. So we now close for lunch. We'll meet at 2 p.m. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.